Hello hiking friends, it's Micey. I am going to tell you the story of how I hiked the Huachuca mountain passage, also known as Passage 1 of the Arizona Trail. So I did the passage in 2 days and 1 night. It was April 2nd and April 3rd of 2016. It was 2 years ago, and I was not making videos 2 years ago. I was just taking photographs. So when I started the passage, it was only the second time that I had ever gone backpacking. The first time I went backpacking was pretty disastrous, and I almost never went backpacking again. But I listened to a girl that I was backpacking with the first time who told me that I just needed to change my gear, get a pack that fit correctly, and to give it a try again. And I'm so glad that I took her advice, because the second time I ever went backpacking was the first passage of the Arizona Trail, and I had a fabulous time. I drove down to Parker Canyon Lake, and a friend of mine came and picked me up from there and then dropped me off at Montezuma's Pass, which is in the Coronado National Memorial Park. And then you hike 1.8 miles down to the southern terminus of the Arizona Trail, and that's where you start. And then from there, it's, I want to say, like 5 miles to the very top of the mountain where Miller's Peak is, and you gain probably something like 3,000 to 5,000 feet of elevation gain in that first 5 miles. And man, it was hard. I had so much fun though. I met a dad and his daughter, and he was actually hiking with her because she was planning to do the whole trail as a through hike. So that was really cool. I met them right off the bat, and it's the first time I ever went backpacking completely on my own with only day hiking experience, so it was pretty bold. It was so much fun. There were so many Border Patrol people stationed there, and when I hiked up the trail, I ran into a couple of Border Patrol agents who just hike the trails down there, making sure nobody is doing anything illegal. And right off the bat, these 2 really big guys passed me on that uphill. And as I climbed up that mountain, switchback after switchback after switchback, it was just so hard. And I could see those guys, and they were big. I'm 5 feet tall. They were both easily more than 6 feet tall. They looked like they were in good shape, and I climbed that mountain, and I could just see them in the distance, and I couldn't believe it. But eventually I even caught up to them, which was crazy. There were old mines on that side of the mountain that were covered by steel grates. It was really cool. So I catch up to these really big guys, find out that they are active duty in the Army, and in fact they are Army Rangers on a temporary duty assignment at Fort Huachuca. And I couldn't believe I caught up to these guys. Physically fit, big guys. And I ended up hiking with them for the next mile or so, which turned to the north side of the mountain, leveled out pretty much, and there was snow on the north side of the mountain. And as we went down that trail, there were lots of really big blowdowns, and they helped me get over a couple of really large trees. We hiked that mile or so, got past the big blowdowns, and then they said goodbye, and they took off, and I never saw them again. It was crazy. And I just know that the Lord put those guys there for that time just because he knew I was going to need help getting over those giant trees. So the next bit of the trail, I just kept climbing again, and I finally got to the very top. I didn't go all the way to the top of the peak because I had hit 9,000 feet of elevation and reached the turnoff where you could go up to the peak, but I was just too tired. So I ended up having a lunch break, and then I ended up just saying, man, it would be so cool if I met up with that girl and her dad again. And like 5 minutes later, I ran into them. They had stopped to take a siesta, and we ended up hiking most of the rest of the passage together that day. And I ended up camping with them that night. They took off in front of me, and going down the other side of Miller Peak, it was just so beautiful. It's just crazy, the scenery in the state of Arizona, when you think that all there is desert, and there isn't. It's so much prettier than that. The last really cool thing I saw that first day was a giant flock of turkeys, Gould's turkeys to be exact. They didn't look like any kind of turkeys I had ever seen before, so I really didn't know what they were. They were big and they were tall, and I had no clue what they were until somebody gobbled, and then I knew they were turkeys. And ended up camping just a little bit further beyond that, and got up really early the next morning and hightailed it off the rest of the passage because I actually had somewhere to be that day, and it was just an amazing experience. The last wildlife that I saw on that section wasn't wild at all. It was a bunch of cattle, and it was really, really a great way to start the Arizona Trail. Yeah, so I did section 1 in 2016, and then I started to do little day hikes on the trail after that. And I didn't start really backpacking and section hiking again on the trail until this past summer. And it's been such a fun trail. I'm so glad that it's here and that I get to go out and hike on it. So that is the story of how I did the Huachuca Mountains. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you all again next time out on the trail.